Thank you for joining us today. Today we are going to talk about knowing our rights. And this is going to be a brief guide to the Notice of Procedural Safeguards. It's really important as a parent to know all of your rights and responsibilities as a parent of a child with a disability. So the Notice of Procedural Safeguards is a very good resource to help you understand that information. It lays it out for you. It explains your rights and responsibilities under the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA. So you will hear that referred to in your child's education. So we want to make sure that you are aware of this and that you have this available to you. We have the procedural safeguards available in multiple languages on the SpedText website. The SpedText website is currently down. So we are working on getting it back up right now. So they will be available later on in the day. I have the presentation. I'll share a link at the end of the presentation so that you have a copy of this presentation so you can go back and reference it. And then right here on this page where I have procedural safeguards underlined, the PDF of the document is linked to that. So you will have access to that. But typically you're able to go to the SpedText website and get it. So just wanted to let you know where it's available. Again, this training today is just a brief overview of it, but definitely go and check it out in depth. So we'll go ahead and get started. When should I receive a copy of the procedural safeguards? IDEA requires that school districts and charter schools provide the procedural safeguards to parents once a year and on the following occasions: upon initial referral or your request for evaluation, the first occurrence of filing a due process hearing complaint or special education complaint during the school year, disciplinary change of placement, or request by a parent. The language requirements are that we provide a copy in the parent's native language or other mode of communication, unless it is clearly not feasible to do so. Again, we offer the procedural safeguards in over 24 languages on the SpedText website, so they are available there. Our guide is available in those languages as well, and we'll talk a little bit about that document later. So you can download them at the Parent Resources website, or the Parent Resources section of our website at spedtext.org. So for foster parent, as a parent, a foster parent for a child with a disability may serve as the parent if they agree to participate in making special education decisions, complete the required training before the child's next ARD meeting, but not later than 90 days after they begin acting as the parent. Surrogate parents, some of the surrogate parents are considered the same as foster parents. So if after reasonable efforts, the child cannot identify or find the parent of a child, or the foster parent is unwilling or unable to serve as a parent, or the child does not reside in a foster home setting, or the child is a ward of the state or an unaccompanied homeless youth, then surrogate parents will be given to those children. So the surrogate parents also must complete a training program before the child's next ARD meeting, but no later than 90 days after the initial appointment as a surrogate parent Child find. So this is how we find our children with disabilities. So all children with disabilities living in the state who need special education services must be identified, located, evaluated. And then this also includes children with disabilities attending private schools. So that's where we are looking for children that may have special needs that we're not aware of. So anytime that you come across a student, you're able to make a child find referral. Prior written notice. This is where the public school must provide you with written information, that prior written notice. The instances that it has to give you that notice is before it proposes or refuses to start or change the identification, evaluation, educational placement, or special education services provided to your child. The school must also provide you with prior written notice, even if you agree to the change or requested the change. The school must give you prior written notice at least 5 days before it proposes or refuses the action, unless you agree to a shorter time frame. So then we're going to talk a little bit about informed consent. Informed consent means that you have been given all the information related to what the school is asking permission to do. So this is voluntary. You don't have to give your consent, and it can be revoked at any time. But if you're going to revoke it, you must do that in writing, and revoking consent is not retroactive. Parental consent is required before the school conducts an initial evaluation for special education, to provide special education services to your child for the first time, to reevaluate your child unless the school can demonstrate that it took reasonable measures to obtain your consent and you failed to respond. So those are all the instances where you're going to need to provide consent. If you disagree with an evaluation provided by your child's school, you have the right to request that your child be evaluated at the school's expense by someone who doesn't work for the school. And this is called an independent education evaluation, or IEE. When you ask for an IEE, the school must give you information about its criteria, evaluation criteria, and where to get an IEE. For discipline procedures, if your child violates this school's code of conduct, the school must follow certain procedures if it removes your child from their current placement, and that removal constitutes a change of placement. So up to 10 school days, your child can be suspended for up to 10 school days in the school year without creating a change of placement. If it's more than 10 days, then a change of placement has occurred, and then an admission review dismissal meeting must be held. And they're also going to conduct a manifestation determination review, an MDR. So they're going to look at whether that discipline, whether those problems were directly caused by the child's disability. The manifestation determination ARD committee will review all of the information, determine if that misconduct was a manifestation, if it was caused by the disability, and then also or a result of the school not implementing the student's individualized education plan. So if they weren't following the plan, and that's why we have whatever the behavior issue was that the cause of it? So that's what that manifestation determination ARD committee is looking at. They're looking at all that information to see what was the cause. If the misconduct of the manifestation determination was a result of the child's disability, if yes, then no behavior. If there's no behavior intervention plan, we're going to conduct a functional behavior assessment and implement a BIP. So we're going to do a FBA. We're going to create a BIP and implement a BIP. If there's already a BIP, we need to review and modify that BIP, that behavior intervention plan, and find out what's not working here. What can we do better for the child? If it's not a manifestation of the child's disability, then the child can be disciplined in the same manner and for the same duration as non-disabled children. So then your child must continue to receive that free, appropriate public education. So FAPE, we can't deny FAPE. There's a lot into the discipline procedures, so I definitely recommend that you go into those procedural safeguards and delve into it further, because there's a lot of really intricate information in there. If your child's conduct was the direct result of a school's failure to implement their IEP, the school must take immediate steps to remedy those problems. So they need to do something to fix whatever it was that they weren't implementing. Your child must be returned to the placement from which they were removed unless the misconduct involves a weapon, illegal drugs, or serious bodily injury to another person. There are protections for your child if they have not yet been determined eligible for special education, if the school had knowledge that your child has a disability before the behavior that resulted in disciplinary action. So they do have some protections if they haven't quite been identified yet. For educational records, you can request copies of your child's records. The school may charge you a fee for copying if the fee does not keep you from, but that fee does not keep you from being able to inspect and review the records. You can inspect and review your records at any time, and typically you're going to be given a copy after every ARD. So you should have copies. If not, you can request a copy. Typically, the districts are not going to charge a fee. For consent, again, your consent or the consent of the adult child must be obtained before educational records can be released to people or organizations outside of the public school system. Upon your request to review the records, the school must make them available to you without unnecessary delay and before any ARD meeting, due process hearing, or resolution session, and no later than 45 calendar days after the date of your request. Private school placement. Parents have the right to voluntarily place their child in a private school, but federal regulations do not require a public school to pay for the cost of education, including special education and related services, for your child with a disability at a private school or facility, if the public school made free appropriate public education or FAPE available to your child. So if they have something that is working for your child, they are not required to pay for you to put your child in a private setting. Transfer of parental rights. All parental rights under federal regulations transfer to your child when the child reaches the age of 18 in Texas. At the age of 18, your child has the right to make their own educational decisions. The school must still provide you with notices of the ARD committee meetings and prior written notices, but you may not attend the ARD meeting unless the adult child specifically invites you to the meeting, or the adult child gives you that right in a supported decision-making agreement. This transfer of parental rights is really, really important when we're starting to talk about transition for our students. We start talking pretty early, and it's good that we do that because we as parents have to be prepared for the changes that are going to come. You could have a child with an intellectual disability, and at 18, they're going to be able to make their own choices. So we need to make sure that we go down the proper procedures for guardianship. How can we remain the parent and be able to make those decisions for the child if they're unable to do so? So it's really good to delve into that and to look at the information on transition. The Parent's Guide to the ARD process goes into that as well, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as that resource. Transfer of parental rights. So on or before the student's 17th birthday, the school must provide you with written notice about the transfer of parental rights to your adult child unless you obtain guardianship or the student signs a valid power of attorney or supported decision-making agreement. So this is where we really need to look at that and well before that 17th birthday, just so you can make plans. Resolving disagreements. So TEA has different options for resolving special education disagreements. They offer state IEP facilitation. So the disagreement must relate to the ARD committee meeting where the mutual agreement was not reached on at least one of the required areas of the IEP, and the ARD committee agrees to recess and reconvene. They also offer mediation services. So the goal of mediation is to assist the parent and the school in reaching agreement. They have a special education complaint resolution. So if you file a written complaint that has to describe the special education violation, the facts on which that complaint is based, it'll include your signature and contact information. And then they also provide a due process hearing program. So a parent can request that a due process hearing from TEA on any matter relating to the identification, evaluation, or educational placement of their child, or the provision of FAPE to their child. So all of these options are offered through TEA. They are all free for parents. We always encourage you to make sure that you are having open and honest conversations with your schools. Sometimes it's tough, but it's good to try to get those resolved as an ARD committee, because typically the school is there to work for your child. We are happy to be able to provide you with these monthly webinars. We're calling them Family-Focused Webinar Wednesdays. Pamela, do you want to pop on? Because I believe that next month, Pamela is offering something that is going to really lend itself to this. And how can we resolve those special education disagreements? How can we do that in a manner that we get everything done for the good of our child and maintain our relationship with the school setting or with the school?
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. And we're going to do a kind of a shortened version of how to stay cool when conversations get heated. And you'll learn some of those really great facilitation skills that are needed when you have those hard conversations. So, and then we'll have some resources if you want more, but we really think that this would be very helpful in just being able to communicate and coming to a consensus on some things. So I hope that you will be able to join us next month.
And we're going to offer our family-focused webinar Wednesdays. It's going to be the second Wednesday of every month. And we're going to have different topics like that. We're really looking at what parents are asking us about, what parents need, and we want to provide resources and information to address that. And so Pamela's one that she is doing the next month is very, very important. So please join us for that. We will be getting information out on how to register for those. Also, if you have questions about special education in Texas, please reach out to SpedTex. That's the Special Education Information Center of Texas. It is a free service. It's in collaboration with TEA, but they have the consultants have tons of information. They are able to answer any questions that you might have when you're looking at the procedural safeguards. If you have questions about what's going on in the school, if you have conflicts and you want to know who it is, who do I need to reach out to? Who do I need to talk to about this? The SpedTex consultants can guide you with that. So any kind of questions that you might have, definitely reach out to them. You can call them. You can go to the website when it's up. Right now, we're having a few technical difficulties, but when it's up, they also have a chat feature, so you can chat live with a consultant. So it's a really great resource. We also have additional resources, not just the Parent's Guide to the ARD process and the procedural safeguards on our website. We have a lot of other resources that are helpful too. So definitely go to the website when it's up. Try again later on today and it should be there. And any questions? I know that was a brief, quick, down and dirty overview of that, but we definitely encourage you to go through and look at it. I am going to thank you, and then I'm going to drop that presentation link. I'm going to stop sharing and drop that presentation link into the chat box. Pamela, is there anything else?
The one thing that I thought about when you talked about child find, which is a big area, is also because it mentioned private schools, but also homeschools. So just know that if you know of somebody that is, serving their kid at home and they are struggling and maybe thinking the kid has a disability, that may be somebody that you're reaching out to and maybe needing to follow that child find process.
Yes,
and the parent, you need to know that that applies
yes.
to you if you have a child that's struggling at home.
Okay, I dropped the presentation link as well as that link to the PDF of the procedural safeguards. Since our website is not up right now, I dropped that in there. And then also I am dropping in the PDF, a copy of the PDF of the Parent's Guide to the ARD process. Again, this is a very helpful resource. It lets you know what to expect, especially if you are new to the special education process. It kind of gives you a good outline of what to look for, what to ask. You don't see, okay, let me make sure that I am sharing with everyone. Thank you for letting me know that. Let's see. Do you see it now? Okay. Just one link. I'm getting the other ones. Thank you for your patience. There, they should all be there. But again, thank you for joining us today. We will see you again next month, and we will be sure to get that information out. We are in the process. Pamela has some great things lined up. She's in the process of getting some good presenters scheduled. So we will be able to give you a flyer with everything that's going to be offered, so that you can see what we have coming up and those registration links. So please join us again. Anything else, Pamela?
I don't have anything, but it's great to see you, and we're hoping that this program will grow. And so tell other people about it. I think it's
Definitely.
going to be
Thank you so much for joining us.